Breaking news, the Pelicans have made their decision on Zion Williamson. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Subscribe right here to the channel. Going to be a busy offseason. Make sure you do subscribe so you stay in the know. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. Donnie, the Pelicans finally have made a choice. They've picked a direction with Zion Williamson. This is via Joe Dumars, the new guy in charge of all the basketball operations in New Orleans, said, I've had some real honest conversations with him, meaning Zion, some real direct and honest conversations. We're going to go forward with Zion. He's going to continue to be a focal point here as we go forward. So what that means is the New Orleans Pelicans are not trading Zion Williamson. They will move forward with him as the face, if not one of the faces of their franchise. Donnie, is this the right decision for New Orleans?
Firstly, I got to say, I commend Dumars for telling Zion to put the fork down. That's what he told him. He said, God dang it, Zion, I'm sick of this. Put the fork down.
Put the fork down is probably what Dumars said.
So I don't want to deal with this anymore, man.
Zion.
But no, in all seriousness, though, yeah, it could prove to be the right decision, but Zion is one of the most controversial players because every time we do a video on Zion, half the comments are like, oh, he's great. And the other half is like, oh, this guy will never be anything, this and that. You don't give him any more chances. So he is super controversial. I've always long said that I think that a guy with his talent level, you try until you just can't anymore, and you reach that breaking point. Because he's super good when he's out there. The problem is that he's not been out there, and so when you're in New Orleans, you're probably not going to get another Zion anytime soon. And if you look at his trajectory of his career, it's a roller coaster. Minimal games, a decent number of games. Minimal games, career high. Minimal games. He's so if you're playing that game, he should have a good year this year, for the record.
Because of the back and forth. Yeah, I mean, look, 2 seasons ago, he played 70 games. If you told me Zion was going to average 70 games for the rest of his career,
exactly,
you'd be ecstatic. You'd go, oh my God, This guy's one of the superstars in the NBA. This is phenomenal. The problem is he played 30 games this year. 3 seasons ago, played 29.
He did say that he wanted to play, but they didn't let him. So I wonder if he could have played another 10 games.
Okay,
but still,
so he plays 35 games.
Exactly.
40, it's still not enough.
It's not enough. But yeah, I think that's the thing with Zion is that if he's out there, I think you've got to do it. And when you change the head at the top with Dumars and you make the decision that you want to have him either come to a decision on trading Zion or retooling around him, I think that Dumars thinks he got through to him. And I think that they've got enough time to still cut loose Zion if this doesn't work. Let's say, for example, this year, we talked about it during the season, when is the right time to trade Zion at this point? And I said, I think you give him one more year, and then if it doesn't work, then you're just nah, this isn't it. So assuming that Zion is out there and able to play and healthy, I think that this team, they've still got a good roster around him, right? I don't know. I think they have to make decisions on guys like CJ, but I do like what Zion can provide on the basketball court.
Well, so here's the thing. When we look at Zion, you look at his contract. Obviously, there's some protections in there for the Pels in terms of non-guaranteed years and all that. That certainly helps, right? That's going to help. But you also have the legal situation going on right now.
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but yes,
right. You've got that, and so that could be limiting his value as well. And this is something that came out from Shamit Dua, really nice guy, by the way, who. Had this, covers the Pelicans, does a phenomenal job, had this just the other day, said there seems to be this general idea of you kind of saw it with Derrick Rose and Kristaps Porzingis, there will be teams that do not necessarily care about the reputation, provided they have enough general information to know how this is going to get settled out of court and the allegations won't stick. So Zion's legal situation may not be the biggest hurdle, but there will be teams who don't care, but teams who don't care need to be sufficiently desperate. And they're not going to give you anything of value. So you're going to get really bad contracts and likely no picks. But if you do get a pick, it's a late pick. So an example would be Andrew Wiggins and Duncan Robinson for Zion and some small salary just to kind of make it even. So I think that context is important when we talk about this decision for the Pelicans. If that's really when you add in the legal stuff going on with Zion without wanting to go too deep into all of that, when you add in the legal stuff going on with Zion, And if teams are so cautious, and maybe they should be based on the number of games he's played, that's the return, it's going to be Andrew Wiggins, Duncan Robinson, and not any kind of real draft capital. If you're the Pelicans, you might as well just keep him, right?
Yeah,
like you're better off just hanging on. So Joe Dumars coming out like a day after this came out that would be the kind of offer for Zion and saying, oh no, we're going to keep him. Hell yeah, you're keeping him. You're not trading him for that. There's no reason. The upside is too high, and you're getting almost nothing out of Zion Williamson if that's the trade that you're making. Not to disparage Andrew Wiggins or
no,
look,
you did it. You did it.
They're fine rotation players, but
almost
compared to the superstar potential, no.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I hadn't seen that. So when you approach it from that standpoint, that makes a lot of sense too. Is that, I mean, I thought that was a foregone conclusion anyway, aside from like the implications from like the allegations and stuff, but just the fact he doesn't play. Nobody's going to want to give you much for him anyway because he never plays. Like if you're going to trade Zion, he needs to get out there and show he can be healthy at least for half a season until the deadline. Like he needs to get to that point first. So I think that was already a foregone conclusion for me in my mind. But when you factor in the other stuff, then yeah, it certainly makes a lot of sense. And like I was saying, what even is the rush? Like you've proven that if you want to lose with Zion on your roster, you can do that.
Sure.
Like you can find a way to do it.
Hey, Zion, we're winning too many games. You stub your toe, go sit down.
Right. Like you can find a way to do it. All right. So I don't see what the rush is at that point. Like I would not, even with depressed value, I wouldn't trade my number 1 overall pick a few years ago for almost nothing, as you put it. Right.
I mean, look, Andrew Wiggins is a fine role player on a team that could potentially win a championship, but does he make a lot of sense for the Pelicans right now?
Lakers.
No, he doesn't. Okay, maybe our Lakers, but Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Neutron, does he make any kind of sense for the Pelicans? No. So you're getting back contracts that you don't even really want, guys that don't make a lot of sense. They've already got Trey Murphy, Herb Jones on the wings. They don't need Andrew Wiggins. It makes more sense just to hang on to Zion. If that's really the quality of the offers that are there for Zion Williamson, of course you come out there publicly and say, oh, no, we're going to move forward with him. We love Zion. I have a feeling if the offers were, I don't know, like the number 2 pick in the draft or something from San Antonio.
Like he's gone.
Yeah, that's just it. Then they wouldn't be saying they love Zion so much. Yeah. But given that that's really indicative of what the offers are, yeah, the Pelicans, it makes all the sense in the world for them publicly to say, oh, no, we're going to make this. We had hard conversations with Zion. He understands, and we're going to turn the page here, and we're moving forward together because that's the confidence we have in Zion Williamson. Again, I guarantee you, if the offers were different, they'd be singing a very different tune. He'd be somewhere else already, like you said, Donnie.
Yeah, you almost sold me on the vision just there. Like you were saying that, I was like, oh, Trev's got the vision right there. All that stuff was different. We love Zion. I was like, oh my God, it's so convincing.
Right? Look at that. Look at that. I should be in PR, right? Just spin.
It sounds so sweet. But no, yeah, like with the Zion situation, yeah, if that's like I was saying, the return you're getting, I wouldn't do it. But like I said at the beginning, he's so controversial. There's going to be a section of fans that are just like, oh, that's good enough. Get him out of here. Like, just do it. Just get rid of him. If you can do it, get rid of him because he'll never be this or that. He'll never be healthy. He'll never, he has to prove people that feel that way wrong. And I don't know of any other way to do that than to just get out there and play for a prolonged period of time and show that he can be healthy. He's shown it, like I said, every other year, if you don't include that injury missed entirely season. But so I would assume that this year he's going to play 60 plus games and maybe qualify for some awards. And if you're Zion, you also need to figure that out because you're like midway through this deal. You need to start looking towards your next deal. Like, are you going to get all of the money available to you with all the stipulations in your contract? And are you positioning yourself to make another contract in the NBA that's even remotely close to that? Right? Like I think he needs to consider that.
Just based on potential, he'll get another contract. But if he wants like max level money, he needs. Look, there's a point. Players are injury prone until they're not. There's a point where guys string together enough years where finally you can dispel the injury prone stuff. And for Zion, I think it's going to take. He's got 3 years left on a contract. I think it's going to take 3 years. It's going to take 3 years of going north of 60 games for Zion to shed the injury prone label. And some guys do it. Look, there was a point where Steph Curry was seen as a huge injury
Yep.
risk when he got his first contract. Part of the reason why the Warriors had enough money to go sign Kevin Durant in free agency, it wasn't just the massive cap spike. It was also the fact that they had Steph Curry on a way below market value deal, because when he signed his contract, his ankles were considered to be made of glass. So I do wonder if Zion's able to do that. If he can play 60 plus games in each of the next 3 seasons, maybe by the time that next contract's coming in, he is a full max player and he has done enough to shed that injury prone label. But I think it's going to take all 3. It's 1 season of being relatively healthy, not enough, just given this guy's history.
Yeah, and the rest of the stuff off the court's going to have to blow over as well, because that's going to matter a lot with him and his ability to play and all that stuff, potentially anyway. But yeah, I think if you're the Pelicans, I don't see the rush. I think you've got more pressing concerns and players you probably would want to get off of, or things you would like to do with some of the other salaries on your books. Like you can maybe make something happen with Olynyk, McCollum. Are you gonna what's the deal with Murray? Like, are you gonna keep him alongside Herb and Jones? What's the deal with them? Are you trading them? Like, I think you've got
Herb Jones,
I think you've got a lot of different decisions to make with this team. So I wouldn't stress about making a Zion trade, because at the bare minimum, if he's detrimental to your team, you don't want him around, you could just tell him to go home. It is what it is. So, but I think he's extremely talented. And if I have an opportunity to have Zion on my basketball court, again, he's got to actually be playing. So if I have that chance, I would do it. Right. So who knows?
For sure. Yeah. That's just it. The ceiling, it's so high with Zion. But the Pelicans, now, again, maybe due to the situation and due to what the offers are out there, but the Pelicans making it publicly known, we're not trading him. We're going to move forward with Zion on our roster. So we'll see what the Pelicans can build for next season. And the big question, and the question we've been asking for years and years and years, can Zion Williamson stay on the court? And
one day,
now, Donnie, we have to add, can Zion stay on the court and also stay out of the court?
That's true. And out of the kitchen. That's where all this started, man. That's where all this started.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Go check out our video from earlier today on the Kevin Durant trade situation with the San Antonio Spurs and what that could be looking at. It looks like things are really starting to heat up there in Phoenix. Go check that out right now.